me start recording. Okay. So we looked at the first commandment, open with e4 or d4. Don't move the same pawn twice. Second one, make just one or two pawn moves. Two pawn moves is okay in the first 7 moves. Okay, not more than that. Don't make too many pawn moves. Two pawn moves is okay. I have said one or two, but you can take it as two. It is better to open both the files, E and D files, and that is good. Okay. Third one is very important. Do not move the f pawn to f3 or f6 because it weakens your king side and you might get checkmated or your king might come under severe attack. I will show you some example why this happens or when this happens. Okay. So do not. Those are the natural squares. You will remember from your level 1 chess training that the natural squares for the knights are c3 and f3 for white and c6 and f6 for black, right? So if you play f3 with your pawn, then you are doing two things. It is a double whammy. A, you are opening a diagonal towards your king, h4, g3, f2, e1, your king. Similarly for the black. Second thing is that you are denying your knight its natural square. The knight is very good placed on f3 or f6 and you are not giving it, so that's square. So that is why it's a double whammy. So don't do that. There are some very exceptional cases when you can do it, but don't do it as a rule. Fourth commandment, move knights before bishops and bishops before queen. See, queen should be the last thing that you will move in the opening. Okay, in the middle game it is okay, but in the opening don't try to move the queen. Okay, it might be okay to exchange of something. So your opponent has taken your knight and you have to take it back with the queen. That's okay. I'm not saying that don't absolutely move it, but I'm saying that voluntarily on your own don't try to move the queen before you have developed the knights and the bishops. Okay, then number 5, prepare for castling. 7th, 8th, if not 7th, then at least 8th move. If not 8th, at least in 9th move, you should be having ready to castle, because castling puts your king to safety and brings the rook into play, right? The rook is on h1 or h8 or let us say a1 or a8. It is kind of out of play. It has to come into play. So most of the time you'll castle on the king side. Sometimes you may castle on the queen side. It's okay. But castling not only safeties your king, but brings the rook into the center. Okay, and
So, I
yes.
know how to open castling. It's when you take out the bishop and the knight and you castle.
Correct, correct. You know the rules of the castling. You are all, I mean, you are not new to chess now. You are in level 2. So you know the rules of the castling. I think we have studied it in detail. So yes, that is very good that you remember that and you must remember it. Right? Fine. Then other thing is, remember there are these double attacks are possible sometimes. Okay. So see if your opponent, you have to be alert. Yeah, I'm going to mute everybody. So, because there may be some noise coming. Okay. So be alert. Your opponent can sometimes take your pawn or piece after giving a check. Okay, it's a double attack. Your queen comes out, gives a check, and by the time you defend it, something else goes away. Right? So be alert to that. And similarly, you also see whether you have that opportunity. See if you can take your opponent's pawn or piece after giving a check. Okay, free. I'm saying not when you get something for free. Look out for this. It happens sometimes. Okay. And ninth rule, do not advance pawns beyond the halfway mark unless well supported. Okay, so there is a thing. Sometimes you may want to do it, but that is when you have very good support for your pawns. But in general, otherwise, play the pawns up to, if you are white, at e4 or d4 it is okay, but e5 or d5, if you are to push it, you have to be really sure that you have enough support for it. Okay, in the middle game it might be okay. I'm saying in the opening, don't try to push it too early, too fast, because then it might become helpless, defenseless, and it may fall. Similarly for black, e5, d5, up to that point it is okay to play the pawn moves. If you want to push it further, be really sure. Otherwise, as a rule, don't try to push it. Okay. And the last commandment, after castling, connect your rooks and get at least one of them on the d or e files. So connect your rooks, because that is very important. That is a part of it. And then get the rooks on the E or the D file. That is where they normally, because the files will be open, and then you will have the rooks coming into play because they are supporting the pawns, and then something will open up, etc. So these are the 10 commandments. Please look at it and remember these. Okay. And then uh, I have given some sample openings: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All of them, if you actually you play through those, I have given only first 5 moves. But if you play through those, then you will realize that they are all following these opening principles. Okay, that is why they have become standard openings, and I have given the names also. Okay, Italian game, Ivan's Gambit, King's Gambit, Royal Lopez, Two Knights game. These are all. There are hundreds of openings. There are over
Uncle,
500 opening names are there.
For the
um,
King's Gambit, why does it show like number 6 is E4?
Ah, that's a typo from my side. I think I should have started it. I think it has just continued the numbering. It is typo. You read it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 only. Okay, don't read it as 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I will correct it and I will republish it.
Uncle, you know the one which you gave the mini mates?
Yeah.
Like in those these gambits and the small games come, right?
Yes, yes, yes. So those are there. I will give those examples. So here there are some. Okay, here it is not. I think it is there in the level 1 class actually. It is, but there is a separate games are there for mini mates. I might share them. Okay, but now let us import. Let us learn a very important concept, which is the concept of tempo. Tempo, Greek meaning of that or Latin meaning of it means time actually. Okay, tempo does not mean that vehicle in which we sit and go like a minibus, but it means time, actual meaning. Okay, and in chess openings, it is very crucial to see why we say centralization. You know, the center is very important, right? And then control of the center with pawns and pieces is very important because you get gives you more power. So now it is also very important to get in the battle, get your entire army out as quickly as possible and occupying good positions, because that is what gives you very good control, right? So one of the ways to actually measure this, right, is using the tempos. Okay, and I'll define it and then we'll see it actually. Okay, a tempo is, this is only in the opening. Okay, once you reach the middle game, then it doesn't have any meaning. Okay, only in the opening, first 10 moves or 12 moves maximum. Okay, tempo is any move that develops your as yet undeveloped pawn or piece. Okay, so what it means is moving an already developed pawn or piece does not count as a tempo. So it does not. But if something is not developed and you develop it, you count it one as a tempo. Okay. Second is that occupying.
So,
Yes.
tempo you can measure about how much more time you have to control the center, right?
Not exactly how much time you have. It is a relative thing. See, normally white and black, they will try to respond to each other. So they will try to maintain the equal control. Like if you put some control, then black will also want to put a additional control on his side and not get. So what tempo allows you to see is that whether you are ahead. See, sometimes black will make some mistakes, or white also will sometimes will make mistakes, and the other side might go ahead in tempo. So, and
Oh.
it goes ahead in tempo, then you know that they are at an advantage. Then they might start attacking. Okay.
Oh yes.
Right. So we'll
So
see
it's
this
like
example.
when you have more time than them, and they are very they are off time, and they can't, and they
Correct.
have very little time, and you have to play defensive too. So then they'll take more time in thinking the
Yeah. But yeah,
plus.
correct. And I will show it to you. But it is not like clock time. Huh? It is more like in chess, the time means every move is like a time. Okay. Because you can make only one move at a time. Right. So you have to use the move very, very judiciously, very well. If you waste the move, then I will show you a very basic example of what means, extreme example of what it means to lose a tempo. Okay.
Oh,
Let's
so
take.
it's like tempos can calculate how many
Just
times you
hold
have.
on. I think you are having too many questions before I have explained it. So hold on. So let us say suppose you play e4. Okay, black plays e5. Okay, knight f3. Okay, now suppose if black plays knight c6. Okay, now suppose if you go back with the knight, now you have lost a tempo, because now you have got you have wasted two moves now, because your knight came up and went back. It's a very basic way of explaining the tempos, but just bear with me. Okay, so this is like you have lost a tempo. In fact, you have lost two tempos, because you developed, because now the knight black can move this. See now how many if you just count, you have one pawn out, black has got one pawn out, you don't have any other piece out, black has got two pieces out. So black's count is 3, your count is 1. Because you made this mistake, now black has gone ahead by two tempos. Your tempo count is 1, black's tempo count is 3.
Oh,
Right? So
so
this is
it's
what.
like based on how many moves you make, you get time.
Wait. I think I just hold on. I think, and then put it on the chat. Your questions, you put it on the chat. Okay. In fact, let me. Okay, please. Please put your queries on the chat, but wait for me to explain. Okay, so now occupying the center, see, counts as an extra. Okay, occupying a key center, you remember what is a key center? Anyone remembers what are the squares which are key center? I had explained it in the level 1 class. It is a very important part. Center of the chessboard is extremely important, and there is a broad center and then there is a key center. Yeah, middle, that is correct, but exactly which ones? E4, D4, E5, C5. Not C5, E5, D5. Yeah, D4, E4, D5, E5. Correct, Vedant, you are absolutely right. So this is the key center. So occupying key center counts extra. Okay. Similarly, the free scope of the queen. Okay, that also counts as extra. Okay. So similarly, control of the key center by your, not just by not just occupying it, but even if you control it with your knights or bishops, that also counts extra. Okay. Similarly, occupying the rooks occupying open or semi-open files, E or D file, also counts extra. So this way, if you capture, you just follow these rules. Okay, and remember what happens, sometimes an exchange happens. So whenever an exchange happens, the pieces which are going exchange and getting out of the board, along with their tempos, they go out. So you have to subtract them because they are no longer there, right? So that is what happens. So this way, if we count, okay, now let us try to count. Okay, so I have given this, let us take an example. Let us take an example of a standard opening so that you will understand what I'm saying. Okay, let us take a opening which is given here, Scotch opening, right? The first one that I've given, Scotch game, E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6, D4, ED4, knight D4, knight F6, knight C3, bishop C5. Let us see how this looks like on the tempo scale. First move, E4, one pawn developed, excellent. Pawn development counts 1, and because you are occupying key center, it counts 1 more. So 2, your points are 2. Black also plays E5. He also gets 2 points with the tempo count. Okay, fine. Now white develops the knight. Because the knight has developed, there is 1 point, and it is attacking the key squares, these key center squares. So 1 more point. So count it as 2. Okay, for white. But black is also smart. Black also develops the knight. Plus controls the same, defends the same 2 key center squares. So black also gets 2 points. See how it is? They have balanced. Black has, now if you had played a move like D6, which is also protecting the pawn, but this is slightly worse than knight C6, because you are getting only 1 point here. Okay, you are getting 1 point for developing the pawn, but you are not occupying the key center, right? and with your piece, and your piece is not developed. So now black is with worth 3 and white is worth 4. So naturally this will look like white has got a slight advantage, and which is true. Okay, fine. So now knight to c6, then white plays d4. Okay, so it is, you might say that it is worth 2 points because it is the occupying the center and it is opening a pawn. Okay, fine, white will say 6 points. Okay, but black will exchange the pawn here. Okay, and white will also exchange. Now both the pawns have gone. So what is the thing? Black's value is now, earlier it was 4, now it has become 2 because this pawn has vanished. White's also, it had become 6, but out of that one pawn has vanished. Okay, so it has become 4, and now white's knight has come here, but it was already developed. So white's value is only 4 and black's value is 2, and black is to move. Okay, black is to move. So what does the black do? Does here knight to f6. It develops a piece worth 1 point and also attacks the two key central square, so worth 2 points. See how it is, black is played and made equality. Now the value is again 4 for white, 4 for black. Sorry, not this. Now white plays knight c3. Okay, so white gets 2 more points, white gets 6, but black also develops a piece and attacks the key center square here, right? So black also gets 2 points. Okay, so worth, it is now 6-6 each. See how the balance has been maintained, right? That is why this is a, I mean, it is not that everyone tries to play maintain with the thing, but if you, in the beginning when you are playing, that time having this concept will help you, especially analyzing your games. You can go and check whether you went down with tempos or not. Okay, and you will know that if, especially if you are down with tempos, most of the time you will come under attack. Okay, but if you maintain the tempos equal, then you will have a very good game. I mean, you will be thing. Okay, but now, so this is a very good way of playing, correct way of playing, and there you have seen that black has maintained the balance of the tempos. Okay, not just black, white has also maintained, because white has also played very well. Okay, now we'll take another example. So we'll close this. I hope you got the idea. Now let us take one more board and let us take a poor example. Let us say that sometimes like beginners play and this one, right? Sometimes you make a mistakes, etc. So let us say what happens if you don't play very well. So let us understand it from the concept of tempos. Okay. White plays first of all d3, e5, knight c3, d5. Okay, let us see this. White plays d3. Worth how much? Worth only 1 point. Okay, because it has not occupied the center. 1. Okay, black plays e5. Worth how many? 2. Correct. So already this, if you do this, black is already slightly better. Okay, that is why we suggest that you don't make the e and d pawns with 1 square, you make it with 2 squares. Okay, but let us go through it. Okay, so knight c3, black plays knight c3. Okay, worth how many? 2 points, right? So white is 1 plus 2, 3. Black responds with d5. Okay, very good. Now black has got an excellent game now, because see, his e and d pawns have come to 2-4 squares. I mean, 2 squares forward. This bishop is open, this bishop is open, queen is open, queen can also come open along this side, and right. So black has got very good thing. So black is 4, white is 3. Okay, after d5. Let us see after that. Knight f3, knight c6. Let us say after that white plays knight f3, black plays knight c6. It is 5 and 6. Still white is only 5 points, black is 6 points. Black is still ahead. Okay, now sometimes I have seen these moves, like you also make such kind of moves. Bishop g5. Okay, do you make? I've seen it many times. Okay, now this is a Aiden, I could not read you what you said. Go. So black got, yeah, black got points for yeah, for having capturing the center. But now this is a bad move. You think that you are attacking the queen, but in this case it is okay to push the pawn. Okay, this is a rare occasion, but where you are not simply pushing the pawn without any reason. You are pushing it to kick away the black bishop. So black, so remember after this, you might have thought that white's points are 6 now, but black makes a move. Now black becomes 7. Not only that, now white has to come back because the bishop is under attack. So what do? Right? So white brings back the bishop. Now already white has become from 6, again he has become 5, while black is at 7 now. Okay, so you see, and I am sure you will realize that the black is at a tremendous advantage right now. Black is very much ahead now. In fact, it is so much ahead that this was a blunder. In fact, now simply you can win by forking the bishop and the knight. Okay, but even if you were not to do this blunder and you were to go back, let us say go back, then also now white's points are only, tempos are only 5, 2 to the 2 for each of the 2 knights and 1 d3, but black has got 7 tempos, and plus it is going to play now. It is going to play, maybe I don't know, maybe it will play bishop to d6, sorry, e6. Further it will get 2 more points because it has developed the bishop and it is also attacking a keys control square, key center square, right? So black is much better this way, right? So remember, so use this kind of a tempo counting techniques, so that so I would say you don't have to do this counting during the game because it will slow down and you are not used to it, but analyze your own games. On Lichess you can go back and see in your profile, you can go back, right, and you can analyze your game. So in those games, go back and see, uh, just limit yourself to the first 10 moves. Okay, only first 10 moves. See how much tempos as per these rules you have got, how much your opponent has got, and what happened. So first find out what was the tempo position at the end of 10 moves, and then see whether it has a correlation with what happened in the game, whether attack or defense, or who won or who lost. Sometimes it will not, because you make mistakes, both sides keep making a lot of mistakes, but at least in the opening, who was attacking, who is not attacking, you will come to know. And if you become slightly better, then in fact you will be, this will determine the whole thing. Because if you're okay, maybe you do one thing. I think I have played 2 games yesterday with Anoop, one with probably Rutvij, and today I played 1 game with Archit, right? Just go over our games, my games with you, and see what was the tempo position. Now you will realize that after first 3 4 4 moves I started getting a extra tempo because of something, because of some mistakes might be you might have made. First 4 or 5 moves I started becoming ahead, even if I was black. And if I was white, then I would have gone much ahead. Just do this exercise and you will come to know. Okay, fine. So this is a good way of actually uh, working mathematically towards your thing. So if you follow, so I have given these 10 commandments. These you make it by heart and always try to play according to this. Go through all of these examples that I have given, because those are very good examples of how to play, actually how good moves to play. And then you use this technique that I mentioned of going through your thing, and so that you will get a very good understanding of the tempos. Now I will show you one position, which is how, 2 positions in fact. Okay, 2 positions. One where everything is well developed. Okay, here is only one position. Okay, but look at this position. This is an example of ideal play. Okay, maybe 10 or 12 moves have happened, but see what are all the things. White has got something in the center and some pawns defending it. He has got a bishop nicely developed. Both bishops are nicely developed, and the knight is on the king knight is on the natural square. The other knight has come for, because it is going to jump to e3 next. Okay, so it has come back, but it is with a purpose. White's king is castled. Rook is on the e file. Queen is also on the e file, ready for middle game. Similarly, if you see black, both the knights are on their natural squares. Both the bishops are developed in good defensive positions. Queen is developed. King is castled. Rook is in the center. And black has got e5 pawn in the center as well as c5 pawn. Both of them are controlling the d4 square. So black is also played equally well. Okay. So this is an ideal way uh, of of responding. Okay, so this is a very good way. I mean, I'm not saying that this is the only way. There are all so many millions of ways, but if you follow these principles, then you will get into such kind of equal positions in middle game, and not like you are losing a pawn or a piece in the opening itself, right? So that is what will happen. Archit, you might want to go over our game today. I think I played one game today, right? And you played really well, but I had won a pawn in the opening, and that was enough for me to win. After that, you played really well. Uh, you tried to exchange off everything, right? And thinking that it is equal and it should draw. But because one pawn I had extra, I always had a win in the end game. So it is an instructive game. But see what happens if you, even if you lose one pawn, how much of a cost it is against a good player. Okay, a good player, you with one extra pawn, he will easily beat anybody. Okay, so because he will exchange off everything, and then finally that one extra pawn will become a queen, and then you will lose the game. So that is why defending the pawns and everything is important. So just go through the game and you will realize. Okay. All right. So next week I'm going to talk about the Scotch game. I may have sent you the opening video already, but I will go over it again because it is not something that is trivial. So I have next week we are going to continue to use this handout, and we will go over. But remember to these principles are extremely important, and go through all of these openings so that you get a good handle. Okay. All right. So that is what I wanted to cover. If you have any questions or if you have any doubts, we can discuss it right now. Otherwise, I have completed my class for today. So if you don't have doubts and you want to go back, it is too late sometimes for you, etc. If you are in Malaysia, Singapore, you want to go back, it is okay. If you have any doubts, please call it out and I will try to clarify. No doubts? If no doubts, then I think then I would say bye. So should you try to have the same or more tempos? Yeah, I mean, okay. So Vedanta, the question is, yeah, try to make good moves which are also having good tempos. Okay. So you will realize. So just when you are evaluating, right, you will have 2-3 options to move. Now having the tempo knowledge will help you decide, oh, this move might looks better. Okay. So that way you will be able to do it. So you can do it. Yeah, you can use tempos to make the opening moves. Okay. All right then. Okay, bye everybody. Enjoy, and remember, tomorrow each one get one extra. So we have, I think, 14 people or 15 people in the class. I am expecting all of you will join. Plus, you will also